What's good, YouTube? You already know who it is, man. It's your boy, Jerry Fit, and we are back to react with what's new on the tube. We got a special video for y'all today, man. Special body cam banger for y'all. We got Dr. Insanity's drunk son accidentally reveals his horrifying crime, man. Hey, man. First of all, happy 4th of July to everybody, man. If you're going to celebrate, please celebrate responsibly. You know what I'm saying? Like, speaking of responsibilities, bro, like, we have to talk about, like drinking too much, man. Like, dude, we can see from like just from this title alone, we can see what drinking too much does, like to the human body and like to the mind and like getting you all messed up, not being able to control yourself, and then you end up doing some shit that you regret. So if you're gonna celebrate, make sure you celebrate responsibly, man. You don't want to be having any regrets and doing anything that you wouldn't do if you had full control over yourself. So that's my little piece. I'm not one to hate on the next man's vice, but just want all my supporters and everybody that's tuned in to be safe and have a great holiday. That's really all I want. So yeah, man, we're gonna jump into the video soon, but before we jump in, you already know what I'm gonna tell you, man. Especially if you're new, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, because we're posting as much as possible, man. Big week next week, bro. I start my career next week, man. Y'all wish a nigga luck in the comments, bro. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me so far. The same way that we've been going hard this whole summer, like posting every single day up until like this week, man. I'm gonna have to fall back a little bit. Priorities take over, life changes, but you already know I'm still working my hardest to bring the best content out for you guys. Don't expect much to change, man. We're still going to be on the grinding tip, bro. Pause. But we're still going to be grinding to get content out for you guys, like, almost every single day. Just as much content as possible, I appreciate you guys for rocking with me so far. So, let's just jump into the video, man.
You're going to get up. Police are at the home of Norma Carricker after receiving a frantic call from her son. He was heavily drunk, but managed to say enough. Someone ran out of the house, and he heard his mother scream.
Police department! Ma'am! Oh, shit.
I was going to say, wait, so
Norma
she's
was already
there,
dead,
still alive?
strangled with a bungee cord.
We're needing some other units to clear the house. This looks like a homicide. You might want to get a canine track started. Somebody ran out the back door.
In the days that followed, detectives would uncover an extensive list of suspects, each with their own dark motives, jealous exes, hidden family secrets, a lucrative life insurance payout, and even a decades-old family murder, turning this seemingly simple welfare check into one of the most twisted homicide cases that...
Low battery.
Oh, shit. That was my speaker, yo. I was like, what the fuck? My fault, gang. Yo, shout out to the speaker for letting us know, though. That would have been bad. Of course, I'm going to edit all this out. But damn. I was like, what the hell?
Harry just used my mom, for her money, and I used a sucker for one time. You're gonna fucking end up dead.
So that's not his mom? Why was he in her house like...
Say to your mom, I'm gonna kill your mom.
Yo, what the fuck? Yo, we got a crazy one today, y'all. We got a crazy one.
At 1:30 a.m.,
Illinois.
Police in Troy, Illinois, received a confusing call from an intoxicated man.
911, what's the address of your emergency? What happened?
Taken out, huh?
Bro, this is what I'm telling you guys, man. Like, this dude has no control over his words, over his body, bro. Like, bro, just please be responsible, man, if you're celebrating today.
Tell me exactly what
My
happened.
mom must have went on a date last night. I heard the guy leave out the back door and I heard shit. And I went up there on the dog, and I went up there, Mom, I didn't hear my mom walk through the house. My mom
Mythical water.
Your mom's not responding? Does she need an ambulance?
I didn't even want to go in there because they were like bang, bang, bang.
Does she need an ambulance?
What does that
I
mean?
don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, so are you wanting a welfare check done on her then?
The caller struggled to provide clear details, but it was apparent that someone inside the home was unresponsive. With limited information, 2 officers were quickly dispatched to investigate the strange situation, not knowing exactly what they'd find upon their arrival.
Bro, I'm nervous for this.
I hear the dog whining from the basement. Mom tells me she was up the kitchen that she's got a date on the way.
Okay.
Bro, this is a grown-ass man.
On the computer? Or on the Tinders or whatever? I don't know. I'm afraid to go in that room. I hear the dog whining in that room.
So you live here, sir?
I live in the basement, man. I had open heart surgery a year and a half ago.
Oh.
She turned the country music on real loud so I can't hear.
Oh, she did that?
My mom does it every day. Blast it. Some old thorough country music. Because she misses her husband or whatever, but she's bringing guys into the house.
So unfortunately, she can't do that. We can certainly check on her, though, and make sure she's okay if you live there.
Please.
Certainly.
Man, the dog is whining.
So you live in this house, though?
I live in the basement.
Okay, so you live here. That's all I needed.
Man, I'm not. The dog is trying to get out.
Well, I tell you what. How about this? How about you go see if you can get her to come out here before we go?
Clearly intoxicated, Neil struggled to explain himself. It sounded like his mother had a date over, but he failed to clarify what was wrong.
Yeah,
Despite
man. I don't know how the cops
uncertainty,
are not like more
officers followed
suspicious
Neil
of him.
inside, completely unaware of the gruesome murder scene they were walking into.
What's up, dude?
You go.
Why do I have to get up?
I'm telling you, she ain't gonna get up.
Okay, but you can hear her?
She's not a word. I pushed her a couple times. She's bleeding out the mouth.
Bro, but you don't tell them, like, didn't they say that she was strangled with a bungee cord or whatever? Like, you don't tell them what you see. So obviously, bro, this dude has something.
Bleeding out the mouth.
He's just too drunk to realize that he's cooked, bro.
She's bleeding out the mouth. Police department.
So she got blood coming out of her mouth?
I shit you not. They called me, my wolf.
Ma'am. Oh, shit.
Officers stepped inside to find Neil's mother, Norma Carricker, lying unconscious on her bed with a cord wrapped around her neck.
That's what I'm saying.
It
Like,
was
why
clear
didn't he say that, bro? When he went back out there to tell him that. Like, why didn't he say that? He said he pushed her a couple of times to try to wake her. Bro,
she'd
so
been
stupid.
strangled, but Officer Alex quickly realized something else. She might still be alive.
Oh!
Hey, pop him today. Where'd that guy go?
He went out the back door.
Right now, that's your intake.
146, can you roll it here?
Damn.
Listen, you're just being a table.
That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, they weren't more suspicious of him earlier.
She is choking. Somebody strangled her.
I'm putting him in my car. I'm going to look. Welcome in. Welcome in.
As Neil was detained and removed from the scene, Officer Alex immediately began performing CPR on Norma. She wasn't breathing, but her body was still warm, indicating she had only recently stopped breathing. And there was still hope she could be saved.
What? Hey, LT. Yeah. Come here real quick. She's still warm to the touch. Somebody strangled her. Homicide, man. So we've not cleared the rest of the house yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep working on her. The son's intoxicated. He said somebody ran out the back. No description. We have him detained in the car.
He's in the car?
We have him detained.
Okay.
I don't know. He said she had somebody over here.
Bro, this cop
he
is
said
really
that
focused.
she was just talking to him a couple of minutes ago. She's warm.
Okay.
No pulse.
Right.
Not conscious, not breathing.
Officer Alex continued performing CPR for over 7 minutes, desperately trying to save Norma's life. Paramedics soon arrived and immediately took over, continuing life-saving efforts.
I'm wondering if he went back into the crib
scrambled
and then
to search
tried
the property
to,
for
like,
the man
strangle
Neil
her when
claimed
the
had
cops
fled the
told
scene. A canine unit was dispatched to track any trace of the mysterious suspect.
You might want to get a canine track started. He said, somebody ran out the back door. He's intoxicated. It looks like somebody wrapped a bungee cord around her neck. Okay, where was Jude at when we got here? He was outside. We contacted him. as hell.
Basement stairs leading into the basement. Heading south. North back door. Door's locked.
Despite their efforts, the mysterious date seemed to have vanished without a trace, and the search revealed no tracks or evidence indicating where he's gone. Back inside the house, there was nothing the paramedics could do to save Norma. Too much time had passed with her airway blocked, and she was declared deceased at the scene.
Tough, man.
What officers didn't yet realize is that Norma was the wife of the late Charles Carricker, the former mayor of Troy, Illinois. Since then, she's been trying to rebuild her life with her son, Neil Howard, whose own father had also died tragically years before. These details would become much more important later on in the investigation.
This is a crazy connection.
But now, officers had no immediate clues to track down Norma's date, so they brought Neil to the police station, hoping his sober recollection might help clarify exactly what happened. Initially, investigators believed they had a clear-cut case. Either Neil Howard was responsible for his mother's murder, or the unidentified date she spent the evening with was. But they had no idea Neil's interview was only the tip of the iceberg. Her dead. But before we get to that, have you ever wondered what Andy Warburg record? Even surfaced the line 1991, probably history.
You're welcome too.
What am I doing, Grant? You recall my history? Here's the thing. You are our only means to any information at the moment.
Why is he standing back like that?
And now I'm going in the wrong room. We have to search one before we can do anything. Why am I here? Because you're our only means to information, Neil. Without you, we have nothing. I need you over here. Okay? Yeah, just I'll get you a bottle of water. Just it's fine, I'll get it for you. Everybody's in the disappointed.
I wonder if he for real did it.
At the station, Neil's severe intoxication prevented detectives from reading him his Miranda rights or questioning him. They had no choice but to let him sleep it off overnight,
Wait, is that for real?
hoping he'd be sober enough later in the day.
They can wait. I thought they didn't have to wait.
By
for
morning,
you to sober
police
up.
were back at Norma's home, preparing to speak with family members arriving at the scene. Until now, investigators only had Neil's unreliable story to guide them. However, this would soon change, as officers would unexpectedly cross paths with their next prime suspect.
So we're gonna let the coroner come out and talk to you too.
Okay.
Okay, we'll kind of explain a little bit about
My mom deceased?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is my brother in jail?
He's being talked to right now, about, because he lives here too.
So we all just woke up and we all just kind of, Neil blew my phone up last night. And so I just kind of had a feeling.
What do you mean he blew your phone up?
On Facebook. He told me that,
I'm not trying to pause too much, but I'm going to let y'all read the text. I wore earbuds. It was gross. Radio so loud. I came up to show her where my drink was. Some hinges wrong. Scared to go, please. I don't know.
my mom had some guy over here and that they were, I guess, having or something like that. And it was gross and, so.
What time was that?
1:30. But I just wanted you guys to know that there's probably a bunch of people on their way right now. Just, my sister's coming, Neil's girlfriend's coming.
So how'd you get alerted to this today? What exactly happened?
I got a call from a friend that lives in this neighborhood back here at 5:50 a.m. I guess she was maybe on her way to work. and she called to see if everything was okay. So there was a bunch of police at my mom with caution tape up.
Okay. Who was that? Who called?
Her name is Lori. She came.
When was the last time you talked to Norma?
Honestly, I haven't talked to her in probably, I don't know. It's been several months.
When was the last time you talked to Neil?
It was last night before I went to bed.
What time was that?
Probably around 11. Between 1 and 2, I missed 60 billion calls. And I woke up.
That dude has a girlfriend?
I
meant to say that earlier, bro. This dude has a girlfriend?
What's going on?
She said he texted you?
Yeah, I'm freaking out. Like, I can't understand what I do. You know.
Do you mind showing me those texts, please?
He considered
Which is different than what he told our officers that he had made contact with her. Yeah.
As officers continued speaking with Norma's daughters, Andrea and Jenny, and Neil's girlfriend Dawn, something odd quickly stood out. Despite being informed that her mother had just died, Andrea's demeanor was unusually upbeat. She seemed strangely calm for someone who had just lost a parent in such a violent way. But while officers were still gathering statements, their attention was suddenly drawn away when a white pickup truck slowly drove by.
Hi, is Norma all right? Well, she's a close friend of mine. Is Norma all right? We'll discuss that in a little bit, okay, sir?
It's Terry.
That's Terry Deep?
That's the guy that she was with?
This was the first time officers made direct contact with Terry Dietz. Dawn confirmed he was Norma's boyfriend, quickly adding that their relationship was known to be turbulent. Yet, when Terry drove by the scene, he referred to Norma simply as a close friend, clearly downplaying their connection. These details quickly placed Terry Dietz as a key person of interest in Norma's murder, and detectives would soon uncover that Terry not only had a complicated relationship with Norma, but also a tempting financial motive.
Oh my gosh, man. Why is it always
to move forward, detectives brought Terry in for questioning later that day. They needed to understand the nature of this relationship with Norma, confirm his whereabouts on the night she was killed, and most importantly, find out if he had any hidden motives to want her dead.
I'm already knowing this dude's gonna piss me off.
You gotta help me with some information. Well, that's kind of what we need you for, too. We know you know Norma very well. Yeah. I know you guys have been dating or love or something like that. Yeah. I never got really close to Norma.
So when was the last time you talked to her?
7:45 p.m.
Hold on, I'm gonna edit all this out. Excuse me. Had to switch my laundry.
Oh, okay.
She asked me to come out to Lucky Rooster in St. Jacob.
So 7:45 p.m. at Lucky Rooster?
Yes.
You were out there in the car?
Yes.
Was anybody else there?
Just me.
Nobody else there or anything of that sort?
No, that's the same table.
Okay, perfect. No, not even at the table. Like, did it look like there was a guy hanging on the bar, like he was trying to hit on her or talk to her or anything like that?
Oh, I didn't know.
That's okay. That's me too. I mean by that though, there's nobody else there type of thing.
Terry told detectives he'd seen Norma earlier that evening at her workplace, the Lucky Rooster. It wasn't much, but it was the first solid lead detectives had about Norma's final hours. However, something about Terry's demeanor caught detectives' attention. Terry seemed strangely calm, almost detached, despite learning that Norma had just died under suspicious circumstances hours ago. This lack of emotion would soon make more sense when detectives asked Terry about Norma's will.
Do you know if she had a will or a life insurance policy or anything of that sort that you would have been a beneficiary of?
Yes, I am the beneficiary on New York Life.
Okay. What is it?
How much?
What is it? You said New York Life is under life insurance?
It's a life insurance policy.
On Norma?
Yes.
Okay.
This question wasn't asked at random. Detectives had already zeroed in on a critical piece of information Terry wasn't aware of. After his suspicious interaction with officers earlier in the morning, detectives took a closer look into his relationship with Norma. They quickly discovered Terry was the sole beneficiary of one of Norma's life insurance policies, and that just hours after learning of her death, he had already contacted the insurance company.
Oh my gosh, bro. Dude, like, I really don't want to pause that much, but dude, I really just want to emphasize the fact that you guys need to really pay attention and be careful who you settle down with, man. Not everybody's intentions are good, bro. Like, you got to be careful who you give your energy to, man. This shit's serious out here, bro.
Inquiring about collecting the $14,000 payout. And the timing couldn't have been more suspicious, as Terry's call came shortly after he drove past the crime scene and asked officers about Norma's condition.
That's crazy.
With this revelation, Terry Dietz quickly became one of the prime suspects in Norma's murder, alongside Neil Howard, Norma's volatile son, and her still unidentified date.
That's just crazy,
Conveniently,
bro.
Once Terry started feeling the pressure...
This dude literally drove by the scene so he could know whether to collect the check or not. Like, come on,
He
bro.
began pointing fingers elsewhere.
I told Norma so many times that please finally bless her up. I told myself, he's home. I'm not joking. Why did you say that? He would get irate. I saw him get irate. This was several months ago at Norma because she wouldn't give him any money to go get booze. She said, don't do that. I'm not going to be doing money, blah, blah, blah. And he was tired.
Terry wasted no time deflecting suspicion onto Neil Howard, characterizing him as an aggressive, violent alcoholic. Detectives saw through Terry's tactic right away, but this next statement would actually force detectives to reconsider Neil as a serious threat.
Is there anybody else you think of that we should talk to? Hey, you probably ought to talk to this person, or hey, this person. Somebody we wouldn't know, or like this, or hey,
that would kill Norma?
Well, they would even know anything about Norma, or they could relate anything to do with Norma.
As I sat there this morning, I was thinking about, you know, going through records and stuff, and what the kids would blame me or accuse me of. Because they know I didn't like them.
Huh? How are you gonna get in a relationship with someone and you don't like their kids, bro? That makes no sense, bro. That's literally like, dude, you're only in it for the money, man. Like, that's...
She was their mother. They were very mean to their mom.
Well, what do you know about her son?
Well, I know she had a lot of problems with him. If I will, let me start with what I know. He killed his dad. Supposedly it was self-defense.
Terry's claim here wasn't just a defensive reaction. It was a troubling fact that would compel...
So it was a true statement?
Detectives to end his interview and shift their attention.
Wait, what? Bro got the get out of jail free card.
On November 21st, 2005, in Mesquite, Texas, Neil Howard shot and killed his father, George Howard.
Bro, this is real life.
According to Neil, the two had been drinking heavily and arguing throughout the day. The fight escalated when George fired a round inside the home. Neil claimed that during the struggle to take the gun away, it went off, striking his father through the eye and killing him instantly.
Holy.
Neil was 26 at the time. He called his sister Andrea, who urged him to contact the police. When officers arrived, they found him inside the house, severely intoxicated. Neil insisted it was self-defense. Neil's violent past was undeniably troubling, and without corroborating his account and locating Norma's date, detectives couldn't clear him. Similarly, Terry's quick presence at the crime scene and his suspiciously swift attempt to claim Norma's life insurance meant detectives needed to thoroughly verify his alibi as well. Detectives needed to keep a close eye on both men for the moment and focus their investigation on identifying the mysterious man Norma spent the evening with. Fortunately, Terry had given detectives a crucial lead when he mentioned that Norma was working at the Lucky Rooster on the evening before her death. So to verify this statement, officers visited Norma's workplace to speak with her co-workers and collect any helpful information. When officers arrived at the Lucky Rooster, they discovered something crucial: surveillance cameras that had captured footage from that very night. What detectives saw on those recordings would open an entirely new set of questions. On the evening of September 12, 2023, surveillance footage captured Norma Carricker leaving the Lucky Rooster with an unidentified man. This footage marked the beginning of Norma's last known movements. Approximately 30 minutes later, Norma and the same man were captured by cameras arriving at the Timeout Bar and Grill. Footage showed them spending roughly an hour inside, talking, drinking, and appearing comfortable in each other's company before leaving together. It was the last time Norma was seen alive.
Shame.
With a bungee cord used to strangle Norma, detectives quickly concluded this murder was personal, possibly a crime of anger or jealousy. They speculated that this mysterious date could have turned violent for some reason, strangling Norma and fleeing before police arrived. The absence of forced entry further supported Neil's story. Detectives now urgently needed Neil's sober recollection to identify and locate Norma's date.
So there was forced entry.
After several hours in custody, Neil Howard was finally sober enough to speak with detectives.
Bro, what's up with
they
his
needed
pants?
his recollection to gain some clarity. Without it, they had no way to identify Norma's date or determine Neil's own fate in the investigation.
She called me, news inspector about 8:30, and she said she's going to have company. And I heard my mom's voice, and I sit there in the bedroom listening. I heard them banging off the headboard or the dresser. Is that what they were? Yes. Okay. And then I heard her saying, "You ain't gotta leave. You ain't gotta go." And it wasn't because of me making noise. I didn't hear that, and I get up and check to make sure that the back door is closed. And that's what you did. You went upstairs to make sure it was closed? I went upstairs, I heard the dog whining in her room. And did you go in? No, I didn't open her door. The door was closed. I went down there, I was like, "Winner, come here. Winner, come here." And you said the door of her room was closed and the dog was outside of the room? No, the dog was inside, but the door was cracked. My mom wasn't hollering, or my mom wasn't answering. My mom's very boisterous person. Right? And the way it went silent was eerie. What made you decide to call her? Because my grandma had an incident with my uncle that they try to say he said with his ex-body.
What?
Type thing.
Right from the start, detectives noticed Neil's story wasn't adding up.
I'm like,
on the
what?
911 call, Neil implied he had already found his mother unresponsive. But now, in the interview room, he insisted he didn't enter her room until officers arrived. Neil would continue giving fragmented accounts throughout the interview, struggling to clearly recall important details. But in between his confused recollections, he suddenly brought up another man, someone he claimed was actively manipulating his mother, Norma.
She got a guy, I'm gonna tell you this guy, I threatened this guy. Terry is his name. And
Dude, little does she know.
She don't need to work 3 jobs. Tom Parker took care of all that. She
Who's
had
that?
no bills. This guy, every day,
So she just works to keep busy?
was on his side to sue my other sister for 30 G's. This guy runs around town. She's supporting this guy.
Why?
And his name's Terry? Terry.
Though the details were disjointed, Neil seemed upset with Terry Dietz, the same man already under suspicion of Norma's murder, accusing him of taking advantage of his mother, draining her money, and turning her against the rest of the family.
This dude ought to be
Neil's
like
anger...
ashamed of himself, because he's also on the life insurance. I just remembered, man. Like, bro, she was already paying you willing to let you have her life insurance, and then, dude, if like it comes out in this video that he killed her, like, bro, this dude really he should like be locked up under the jail, bro. Like, how greedy is one person? You know what I'm saying? Like, she literally lets you be on her life insurance, in her will, whatever. Like, she has 3 kids that life insurance could have gone to. She's already paying you. Like,
existing suspicions, giving them even more reason to closely scrutinize his involvement. But by now, Neil had been at the station for several hours and was becoming anxious, demanding to leave. Detectives still didn't inform him of his mother's death, and holding him any longer without explaining why was becoming difficult to justify. It was time to deliver the tragic news and brace for Neil's reaction.
No, I gotta get him situated, Mom. This is gonna ruin everything. Everybody's saying, I want to let her down slow. No, I don't want to tell her I'm at fault for nothing. Your mom's deceased, right? No. Your mom was deceased. I said, so that's why we're making this.
The way that he just told him, though, that's not cool. We need to have you around available for us, okay? That's not cool, man.
Well, no, I'd like to see my sister. Oh, well, sit down, okay? No. So you're not leaving? You're not leaving. Is that right? Yeah. You're not leaving. Oh, is that right? Your mother's deceased. You know, is there one person we know that saw her last that we can talk to? I didn't see her last night. You did too. I seen her last night? You walked in there when the officers asked you to. You were the last one there with her, so you're the only one we have. You're the last person that saw her, correct? I didn't see her last night until they told me to go in there. Absolutely, we know that. But then you spoke with her at 8:30. I knew it. You spoke with her at 8:30. Call my sister and let me talk to her.
After learning of his mother's death,
bro.
Neil grew increasingly agitated throughout the remainder of the interview.
Dude, that's understandable, because that's not cool at all, bro. Like, if he can leave, like, he's not even under arrest, bro, and they're saying that he can't leave, like, that's fucked up. And the way that officer just told him that his mom's dead really rubbed me the wrong way, dude. Like, he was in there being fully cooperative with you guys the entire time. You have nothing on him, and now he wants to leave so he can go take care of his family, handle his business, bro. And now you guys are being fucking jerks. Like, this, like, now I'm getting pissed because, like, dude, you can't just hold him here while you figure out the entire time. Like, it's, like, I think they said he spent the entire night there. He could have been complaining the entire night. He wasn't. He was in there giving them as much information as he, like, remembered. Even though, like, we don't know if he did it yet or not. Like, I'm just saying hypothetically, like, you can't, like, just... You know, people have rights. Like, you can't just hold him there forever trying to figure out if he did it or not. Like, you have to go build the evidence, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's so not fair. And I'm really just, like, pissed off by the way that the cop told me. He's like, oh, you know your mom's deceased, right? Like, bro, like, you sound like a fucking, like, high schooler trying to taunt a kid, bro. I'm sorry.
Eventually requesting a lawyer and forcing detectives to end their questioning.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Wait, he asked for a lawyer?
And agitated throughout the remainder of the interview, eventually requesting a lawyer and forcing detectives to end their questioning.
Honestly, I give him his props for that.
With Neil shutting down the interview and refusing to cooperate further, detectives had no choice but to find another way to identify Norma's mysterious date. Hoping for a breakthrough, investigators sent officers to search for additional surveillance footage from locations Norma and her date passed by that night, and they quickly hit the jackpot. One security camera clearly captured the vehicle Norma's date was driving. By running the license plate, detectives identified him as James Carter. Detectives urgently needed to speak with James, the only other known person at Norma's house that night besides Neil. When they first approached him, he was uncooperative and outright denied seeing Norma. It wasn't until officers obtained a warrant for his cell phone data that he and his lawyer agreed to speak, on the condition that James received immunity and would not be subpoenaed for the trial. Once immunity was secured, he cooperated, provided a DNA sample, and shared his account of the evening. James explained that he met Norma on the dating site Plenty of Fish and arranged to meet at her workplace before heading to the bar for a few drinks. After leaving the bar, Norma invited him back to her house and they spent an intimate hour together at Norma's. However, James insisted Norma was alive and unharmed when he left around 11 p.m. Cell phone data corroborated his story, placing him back in St. Louis, where he lived, well before the estimated time of Norma's death.
My brother got some
James
coochie
Carter
in the
officially
dick, bro.
declared the investigation was narrowed to 2 suspects, Neil Howard and Terry Dietz. Both men had means and opportunity. Both shared complicated, deeply rooted relationships with Norma. But without any physical evidence, detectives couldn't solve this with timelines alone. They needed a clearer understanding of Norma's personal life to pinpoint which of the 2 suspects was more capable of killing her. To do this, investigators brought Norma's daughters in, Andrea and Jenny, as well as Neil's girlfriend, Dawn, hoping their insights would single out the likely killer. However, these interviews would instead reveal a hidden detail from Norma's personal life, one that would turn the very people brought in to help into potential suspects themselves.
What is that? The will?
Sorry. I greatly appreciate taking time to come and talk to me, so I'm the patience.
And just, like I said, my biggest issue is, you know, I love my mom. Me and my mom have always been super close. But this Terry guy came in, and he has just totally broken her down.
So, do you think Neil could have enough information to hurt your mind?
I don't put it past him. Especially when he's drunk and drugging, and I mean, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what's going on with Norma.
She was so in love with that man, it's sickening, you know, and just my mom's relationship with Terry meant more to her, you know, than the relationship with her daughter. Well, and I guess what I'm saying is that Terry just uses my mom, you know, for her money and calls her fat, and, you know, she just lost a bunch of weight. That being said, she would look for love on a lot of these dating sites. And so when we were living with her, she would, Andre, come here. You know, she was talking to multiple different people. And I even said to her one time, I'm like, you're going to end up dead. Like, you don't even know who you're talking to. I mean, I've been over there.
I mean, that's a dangerous game, bro.
And this is what I can tell you.
Like,
my mom and Neil are both alcoholics.
Oh, shit.
My mom doesn't handle hers very well. She becomes very belligerent. And every time she's been belligerent with Neil, he always tucks his head and goes downstairs. I know my brother better than anybody in this world. Like, I am my brother's keeper, for real. And he wouldn't have hurt her. He wouldn't have. I've been through this before, you know.
I know.
Andrea and Jenny's interviews further confirmed that Norma's relationship with Terry and Neil was strained, troubled, and complicated. And Andrea's subtle mention that she'd been through this before reinforced the detective's concerns about the family's violent past. However, when Neil's girlfriend Dawn entered the interview room, she would reveal something detectives never saw coming. A financial motive powerful enough to make everyone close to Norma a potential suspect.
God, I'm sorry. 3 other things come up, so I don't want to grab a big card. You just had to take me to see if you can.
6 o'clock this morning, no one knew what happened, and Neil just pulled up. Terry showed up. Well, what happened to Norma? 6 o'clock in the morning, Neil just showed up on site. Terry should not have known anything of what happened, but yes, he showed up.
Oh, chat, we got some interesting information.
Last night. I don't know who it was. She told me this new dating site, which I wondered about. You know, who we were talking to.
Right.
We had the habit of telling people where she's got all this money. So that's another thing to look into. Everything in my mind tells me Terry had something to do with it. Norman was struggling depressed all the time. Terry was a big problem.
That's tough, man.
Terry thought that his income was coming to a close. If she was dating, they were probably going to be very angry. She had an escrow, but millions and millions of dollars. If Terry was beneficiary, and when was gone, Terry gets up to $5 million.
Is this in this year, Norma lived at Pound State?
Yes. Like $5 million.
Do we know that for certain? Because I figured if I don't know that he was worth that much.
Yeah, for certain.
That's what I'm saying. We saw the
According to
14,000
Dawn,
earlier.
Norma was due to receive a multi-million-dollar payout from the estate of her late husband, Charles Carricker, a former mayor of Troy, Illinois, and a longtime local businessman. This revelation changed everything. Suddenly, anyone close to Norma who knew anything about the money had a potential motive.
That's what I'm
Neil
saying.
Howard, her financially dependent son struggling with alcoholism, Terry Dietz, her ex-boyfriend known for financial manipulation, and even her daughters, Andrea and Jenny, who stood to inherit a life-changing sum. With the suspect pool rapidly expanding, detectives began preparing to closely examine everyone who might benefit from Norma's death. But before they get to that, they caught a lucky break. Neil Howard suddenly requested to speak to detectives without a lawyer. He was quickly brought back for a second interview, where he would finally provide detectives with some clarity, or so they hoped.
My mom, she comes home from one job. She works like 3 jobs. She's a sugar mama to more than one guy. Do you know these guys? I know one, but somehow she go online and meeting guys, random guys coming in and out of the house. That's gotta be tough for you with your son. I usually go on. I usually leave or I'm in bed. I'm asleep. I didn't even see her yesterday. She goes from one job to the other. And my sister was supposed to come by and take me to her old house, which is in Troy, to clean it, to make sure it was clean, because she was showing it. My sister didn't have shown up. I could hear my mom upstairs. She comes in, changes shirt, changes shoes, and gone. She usually calls me when she's leaving her other job to ask me if she wanted anything to eat. She called me later than usual. She called me, look at the phone, she called me at 9:30, I believe, about 9:15, and says, just a 9:15? About 9:30. And she said, I'm got to have company, which that means you're going to make a noise, I'm going to make a peep. I'll go upstairs, you're not there, basically. I said, all right, so what, I got to hurry up. She said, just take all the clothes off the kitchen table and throw them in the laundry. So I got clothes and threw them in there, and I pulled the doors closed as I could, so nobody would see what was in there. So I didn't see her drop her car off, but when I went back downstairs, I heard the car door. I can hear it from the basement. Can't see nothing because the windows are real high. I called my girlfriend one more time and I said, so no chance of you coming. She broke her foot last week, so it's hard for her to drive. And I said, no chance you coming tonight? And she said, baby, I can't, but you got me all day tomorrow. And I started singing her like love songs.
I thought he was going to say some other shit.
And then I called my sister again, wanted to know why she didn't show up and what am I supposed to do about dressing. I'm giving her away on Saturday. If I didn't want to wear a tuxedo, am I wearing dress clothes? No answer, so I bugged her.
Bro, but how old are you, man? Like, you can't handle that shit yourself?
According to Neil, at around 10:30 p.m., he heard the sliding door slam shut, indicating Norma's date had left. While this matched James Carter's statement, it didn't explain why Neil waited almost 3 hours before calling 911, claiming he'd found his mother unresponsive immediately after someone had just left the house. Those missing hours were critical to solving Norma's murder, and the detective was about to put Neil's timeline under intense scrutiny to extract any major inconsistencies in his alibi.
Were you drinking last night?
I was.
What'd you have to drink?
Like you'll see, I got a big jug. It was probably sitting right there by my phone. I drank that on that jug 2 days.
So I want to go back to, I want to understand this a little bit more.
A jug of
Why this
what?
particular night did you decide to go check on her? If that's a normal...
I went because I heard the back door.
So you can hear the sliding back door over the country today.
So I could hear her talking to the dog.
Okay.
And she was like, get in here. And I heard her say to whoever was there, you ain't what? Howling out her door, hollering, you ain't got to leave so fast.
So when you cracked the door to let the dog out of your mom's bedroom,
Yeah. Could you see your mom?
I thought she was sleeping.
So then why did you call the police?
I called my sister and I called my girlfriend first.
If your mom sleeps face down in between pillows with a blanket over her, what made you decide to call the police? If that's a normal
The dog was
thing.
crying at the door.
This was the first major inconsistency in Neil's story. He was now admitting he'd entered his mother's bedroom and seen her covered with a blanket, completely contradicting his earlier claim that he didn't go in until instructed by officers. But rather than immediately calling him out on the lie, the detective decided to take a more subtle approach, carefully empathizing with him and probing the complicated dynamics between Neil and his mother. The goal was simple: to encourage Neil to reveal why he hadn't been fully truthful about that night.
You don't have a car, and to me, I guess where I struggle, and I feel bad for you. I do. I think that you got dealt a shit hand. I mean, you poor guy, you've been through hell and back with health issues, and then you have to live in this basement.
All the sewage, the gross.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you're expected to be quiet. Every time your mom brings a new man home, and you have to sit there and listen to her act. And I tell you right now, I would be upset.
This is a known fact, even that's my sister's. You know, they're telling my mom is dangerous.
Your mom's dangerous?
No, these random guys.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but you know what, man? Sleeping in the basement, putting on earplugs, and boy, listening to your mom and have random guys coming over and listening to country music real loud and all.
Neil's acknowledgement of the tension between him and his mother was exactly what the detective wanted. A grown man, financially dependent, stuck at home while his mother dated other men. Neil openly acknowledged this uncomfortable dynamic, yet remained emotionally detached, showing none of the rage previously seen during his arrest. As the interview progressed, Neil's responses began to slip, revealing more contradictions and doubts.
I wonder
about his
if he
story.
went and
But
talked
one
to his
specific
sisters, and then he's trying to come back. Like he found out what they did, and then he's trying to come back and clear him. I wonder. There's like 2 minutes left, bro. We
stood
gotta
out to
see what
detectives.
the hell
Neil
happened.
never once asked how his mother died. Most people facing such news would desperately seek answers. Neil's lack of curiosity felt suspiciously intentional, as if he already knew. With this, detectives wrapped up Neil's final interview with uncertainty still surrounding his alibi, and shifted their focus back to Terry Dietz, their other primary suspect. After thoroughly examining phone records, DNA evidence, and multiple witness statements, detectives confirmed Terry was at home nursing a minor injury the entire night, never leaving his property after 9 p.m. Physical evidence from the crime scene further cleared Terry. Additionally, investigators carefully examined the possibility of Norma's daughters, Andrea and Jenny, having a financial motive due to their substantial claim were verified, and detectives found no additional evidence suggesting their involvement in their mother's death. So, with Terry cleared and Norma's daughters ruled out, detectives were left with just one suspect, Neil
why would he
Howard.
come back
By
in?
now,
You know what I'm
it was
saying?
clear Neil wasn't going to confess. But detectives were confident that the contradictions, inconsistencies, and his behavior following Norma's death provided enough proof to secure a conviction. Ultimately, investigators felt certain Neil Howard was responsible for his mother's murder, and they formally charged him.
That's wild, bro.
At the trial, prosecutors argue that sometime between 10:30 p.m. and 1:30 a.m., Neil, heavily intoxicated and increasingly volatile, entered Norma's bedroom. An argument may have broken out, or perhaps the tension had been simmering all day. At some point, Neil strangled Norma with a bungee cord, then covered her up with a blanket. Instead of immediately calling for help, Neil repeatedly tried contacting his sister Andrea, just as he'd done years earlier after killing his father. Phone records revealed that Neil started calling Andrea at 12:49 a.m., making 7 attempts to reach her, the final call occurring at 1:30 a.m., moments before dialing 911. The jury reviewed Neil's shifting accounts, the physical evidence, and his documented history of violence, prosecutors painted a clear picture. Neil Howard was unstable, violent, and entirely capable of murder. On February 10, 2025, Neil Howard was found guilty of first-degree murder. His sentencing is still pending, but he faces up to 60 years behind bars.
I can't believe I fucking tried to defend this dude, man. Like, when he was getting released at first for the lawyers, dude, I really thought he didn't do it at that point. But nah, man. Hey, bro, shout out Dr. Insanity for letting us use the content, bro. That's going to wrap it up for this video. Are you guys 100% convinced that he did it or no? Let me know in the comments, bro, for sure. I mean, they said that they charged him and that they're waiting on sentencing. So I'm pretty sure it's, you know, pretty wrapped up by now. But anyway, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. This was a good video. Shout out Dr. Insanity for letting us use the content, man. If you like videos like these, you already know what I'm going to tell you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and let me know if you have any videos that you want me to react to. And I'll see y'all in the next video, man.